Determination to change the nation, I'm manifesting the truth. Back in the booth to give you the messages that's been channeling right through me. No, I'm not Jesus, although my spirit is great. I'm eating my food without a plate, escaping this place through my meditations. New life begun when I reloaded the gun and realized where I was from was not too far from the sun, like somewhere close by the moon. Now I'm connected like Zoom. On walks of life that ever lived, call me like out of the blue. So I just pass it to you, right through your speakers with clues. And if you choose to free your mind, then you will have all the tools. But I can't make you take it and shake it and mentally break yourself out. Cause freeing your mind without a doubt is something you have to try out. But once you see the light, your might, and all the power you've had, then you have reached the fifth dimension and you can brighten your path. But others who choose to follow the red pills, it's harder to swallow. Or you can wallow in your sorrows, feeling all empty and hollow. The only way you'll see the truth is if it's starting with you. So please stop lying to yourself, start being truthful to you. The only way you'll see the truth is if it's starting with you. So please stop lying to yourself, start being truthful to you, to you.
Yo, yo, yo. How y'all doing? Let me put some Carmex on my dry lips first. How y'all doing on this Sunday? We got a special episode today with some powerful women. And we're going to be discussing some legal stuff. Like just basically talking about how hard it is to get legal representation in this town. Especially with most of the legal representation that we do have, it's all they already bought and paid for. Y'all know. When I look at my face all shiny, my wife gave me this stuff to put on there. I feel like I'm first day of kindergarten. Okay. But yeah, and I want to share like my own story because I think the education of our children is important, and so I didn't never have the education on what to do when I was faced with legal issues or things with the law. And so yeah, there was one time that I actually, like in the 90s, like 98, I got fired from my job, and even though my wife told me not to, I took my last check, it was about $300, and bought me a quarter pound of weed. Thought I was about to sell it, like I'm gonna sell this weed, double up my money until I get my next check from another job. So unfortunately, yeah, I just walked to the store. I had it kind of tucked in my waist. And when I got to the store, hey, Cynthia, when I got down to the store, as we coming out, it's me and a few of my cousins, and the police pulled up. And they like, hey, you match a description of this guy off of Ohio. I was at DCAT's, Super T's, whatever you want to call it now. I don't know. I think the Arabs got it now, but it was DCAT's at the time. And I was walking out of the store, and the police pull up with their lights, and they like, hey, you match the description of this guy who just assaulted a woman up on 40th in Ohio. Good evening, Miss Wanda. Hey, Michelle. And so I'm like, no, I didn't do it. I'm not the person. And yeah, it was about four of us. And unfortunately, the police insisted that we all show our IDs and come over to the cop car. And I'm like, no, because of course I knew I had that weed tucked in my waist. Well, the officer, when I told him no, I didn't want to cooperate and I didn't want to show my ID. Hey, Erica. He grabbed me by my arm and I like snatched away. And when I snatched away, this white boy punched me in the face. I mean, like a real punch. I ain't never been punched by no white dude. So my natural instinct is what? What your mama teach you? Somebody hit you, you hit them back. So I hit him back. Man, I mean, that hit back was definitely a reflex, but they went to town on me. And it was a few of the cops were there, but it just seemed like all of a sudden more of them pulled up. And when they pulled up, y'all remember that song by Ice Cube, We Be Clubbing? Man, they must have clubbed me to death. And next thing I know, one of them had their knee on my back and was choking me. And then that weed fell out, and they was like, he got some weed. And I went unconscious. When I woke up, I was actually at St. Joe, a killer hospital. And I didn't even realize what they had done to me. The choke move just made me pass out. I was in cuffs, and yeah, they brought the lady, I guess, to the scene while I was impaired, and she told them that it wasn't me. So that's what everybody was saying. Hey, the lady came, they brought her down, and she said you wasn't a person. But the police said, hey, we still got him for assault on the police. Now I'm the one charged with assault, and he had marijuana on him, which he was clearly going to deliver, is what they say. So yeah, me not knowing my rights, I go to court, I get a public pretender, and he said, well, Mr. Wells, they caught you with the weed. You did punch the officer, so you might as well waive your preliminary hearing, and let's just bomb right over to district court, because they charged me with 2 felonies, felony assault on the police and felony possession of marijuana with intent to deliver. So yeah, I didn't have a decent lawyer, because telling me that was the wrong thing, but I had God. And God said, don't waive your preliminary, go through the preliminary. And so when right before I went to go through the hearing for the preliminary hearing, I prayed. I told God, I said, I don't want to be judged as a drug dealer. And if you can help me get out of this situation, I won't sell drugs no more. I should have listened to my wife. She's my girlfriend at the time. I should have listened, that women intuition, but I didn't. I was hard-headed and I didn't listen. And, but yeah, so I went through the preliminary anyway. And when I did, you know what happened? The judge completely threw out the marijuana. He didn't give me no possession, no intent to deliver. He was like, clearly, Mr. Wells was probably going to use this. It was in one bag. And so he was like, we're going to throw it out. And the prosecutor said, no, he still had it on his person. He said, well, that ain't how you filed it. And we're going to act like he never had it. So we ain't going to charge him with no possession of intent to deliver or even having the weed. I said, wow. And then they bonded me over for the felony assault on the police. When I went to court, though, however, when I got to court, the officers showed up and said that I was the wrong person. Now, if I had a lawyer, they would have ate that up, because first of all, you stopped me for nothing. I wasn't even doing nothing. So, but when the officer came, they changed it to a misdemeanor assault, and I ended up copping to that. And, but what's crazy is, so all these years, I've been denied for jobs and stuff because of that assault, because it was still listed as a felony. I thought they dropped it to a misdemeanor and now I pled to it, which I thought I did. But when I went to get my gun license like a couple years ago, they told me I lied on my gun application and that I still had a felony. Well, I ended up going down to talk to Brenda Beadle, because she was the prosecutor at the time, and come to find out, it was a clerical error. They never changed it from felony to misdemeanor. So all the jobs I got denied, all the houses I got denied, all those years from 98 till 2022, it was because it still showed that I had a felony assault on the police on my record. And when I did go to the courthouse and pull my own, I had to do my own work. I went to the courthouse, pulled my record, and on there it showed where Brenda Beadle changed it from felony to misdemeanor, but she hand wrote it on there. And so they never took her hand writing from, she just crossed out felony and put misdemeanor. They never changed it in the system. And so I was the whole time listed as a convicted felon. And it wasn't until I tried to get my gun license, I found that out. And so I went back down there, talked to her. She changed it to misdemeanor, told me there was nothing I could do because it was a clerical error. And yeah. So I still have the misdemeanor assault on the police, which I shouldn't have nothing, because technically, they shouldn't even have bothered me. And he hit me first, like a little baby. He hit me first, but he did. And yeah, this is part of the problem, because when we go to court or we get in trouble or anything like that, most of the times we don't know our legal rights. we don't have the right kind of representation for us, and it leads us to further and further problems in the future. And so that one issue stopped me from getting a lot of jobs, stopped me from getting a lot of housing, and it was a hindrance for me for a lot of years. Felony assault on the police. So that's why it's important now, since, Nebraska has moved into this number one for incarcerating Black men. It's important for us to not only spend time with our children, teaching them about what they should and shouldn't do and how to interact with the police, but also knowing that when you do get in trouble, the right legal representation is very important for you to be able to not only not have to wear that jacket the whole time, but have the right things going on in your life for the future, because it affected me for years. And I almost couldn't even get my gun license because of it. So, yeah. And that's just a quick story on me and how that happened. And so, that assault, it's still on my record as a misdemeanor, but that's the only assault. I ain't got no assaults on no Black people or no shootings on the Black people or nothing like that. My only assault is on the police, which really they assaulted me. I just hit him back, So, yeah. And so it's important for the legal representation and also to have the right kind of people in place in our legislation and in public spaces to help with laws and things like that that's going to affect us. And so today, that's why it's important that we are, what you say? So felons can get their gun license. No, they can't. Mine is listed as a misdemeanor now, so that's why I was able to get my gun license, but felons cannot get a gun license. She said, I'm discussing about that and for unknown number of people that are still affected. Yeah, well, because it's a lot of people. I know people right now going through courts and the public defenders is telling them, waive your preliminary. But if you don't know, the preliminary hearing is where they have to prove the evidence that they have against you. So waiving it, you already basically saying you're guilty. So I didn't know that, but God told me not to waive it. And so that's how I ended up getting out of that. But again, it's important, to understand that stuff. And so having people in spaces or public figures where the laws can be affected is important. And that's why today we have Miss Ashlei Spivey. I'm going to bring her on, who is running for District 13. There she go. Hey, Ashlei.
Hey, Sherman. How are you?
Good. How you doing?
Good. I'm tired. I just came from knocking doors, so I'm tired.
Knocking doors. Yeah.
And I'm hiding out in the basement from my children, so excuse all the things around me.
Oh, yeah. Ain't nothing wrong with it. And so I do have the other two guests in the wing. So I'm going to bring them on just in case they have some questions for you. We got Miss Arlena. Hey, Arlena, how you doing? And we got Miss Nikki here. Okay. So, Miss Ashlei, we really wanted to get you on here in front of the people. Right now I am the man for the people. I have been and the voice for the people in North Omaha. And that's something I take a lot of pride in. And so when I seen that you was running, for one, me and your husband is real cool. He had me on his show when he was doing his show. And so I'm like, man, I need to get her on here so we can talk to her about, for one, why you chose to run. And then for two, like some of the challenges you face. I know you've been busy with the I Be Black Girl. Me and my daughter actually attended one of your summits a long time ago when she was like 12 years old. So, it's just a full circle around to see you taking up the courage to run for this space that I know it hasn't been a woman in that position probably since 2012 or something like that.
Yeah. Tanya Cook was the last Black woman in our state legislature, actually in this district for District 13.
Wow. So yeah, that's huge for you to be doing that right now. So yeah, I just want to know what made you want to run for District 13.
Yeah, I think doing community work, right, and community transformation work has always been a part of the things that I care about and am interested in. And I've actually been a lobbyist the last 8 years of my career alongside of Ivy Black Girl. And so I've worked really intimately with the legislature, understanding how policy is made, understanding the key players, and also like the things that have gone well down at the Capitol and things that are also an area for improvement. And so seeing the lack of representation and the lack of people that really center community in policymaking was really disheartening for me. It feels like our state senators should be focused on a lot of other things around the future and trajectory of Nebraska, and they sit in very sometimes petty spaces of policymaking. And so I really just want to do something different. I wanted to be able to bring my perspective and my community with me to the Capitol. I want to be able to make policy that actually impacts our community in a positive manner versus causing more harm, because policy we know is traditionally weaponized, especially against Black community and communities of color. And so I felt like, now is a great time as Senator Lane is terming out. So the seat will be open. I had some other major commitments, like being the board chair for ACLU, that I am no longer sitting in. My 17-month-old is now 17 months. He's not a newborn. So, like the timing just felt right to like put my name in the hat.
Good.
Thank you.
That's good. Yeah, thank you for doing that. We appreciate it. It's good to see somebody from the neighborhood jump into the Capitol, because we know that the policies and stuff that they work on in Lincoln affects us directly. And for
Absolutely.
you to be doing that, it's just huge. Erica says she wants you knocking doors in Cunningham Lake Ridge, because your competition has signs on too many of her neighbor yards. And it's funny. I made a post about that the other day. That now that every year, though, it's every year, elections roll around, we start seeing these people signs in our neighborhood that ain't never even stepped foot in our neighborhood.
Exactly.
And I mean, it's the old political way, but now
Right.
I want these people to understand that they're dealing with a new North Omaha who is conscious of those games. And so if we haven't seen you around here before, we don't want you around here now. Matter of fact, take those signs and put them in your own yard, because we don't even want them around here. And I know sometimes my approach to things can be harsh, so sometimes people don't like what I say. But I mean, honestly, man, every year it's the same thing. Our community gets flooded with signs from people who don't look like us, for one, and that has not been, and whether they look like us or not, if you have been active in our community, we can accept that.
Right.
But you haven't been active, so now you just want our votes, which lets us know you're just using us for votes. Do you have any comments on that?
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that sets me apart with my candidacy is that, hi, cousin. My cousin is on here. She just put a note. I think that's one of the things that sets me apart from my candidacy is like, one, I'm from the community, like
Right.
I'm part of the working people, right? Like, I come from the same community which I want to represent. I have those experiences of navigating bad work cultures and not having the benefits that I need, or me trying to think about, I have a business with my husband. How can we use our business to actualize economic prosperity, not just for us, for our children? Like those are the things that our community, especially in District 13, care about. And I have lived those and I hold those. And, I've been here. So I have a long history and track record of my work being around community transformation from, and also I would say this, like being in community is not always like agreeable. So I've been in community spaces where I have discourse with people and we don't agree around what this should look like, right? Like I think it's all of those things. And so for me, I'm really hoping that voters see through that and voters really want to again do something different, right? Like 2024 is such an important year for us, not just for this position that I'm running, but up and down the ballot, right? From the presidential election into the candidacy to like medical marijuana might be on the ballot, abortion, paid sick leave, the school repeal for choice. Like there's really big, important issues that impact everyday folks that will be on the ballot. And so I really want people to pay attention to how folks are moving. What does that look like? What does their leadership look like? What has been their track record with their leadership? And where do you want to go? right? Like, I think this is a time for voters to use their voice to say, like, we're not doing this anymore. We want to see something different. And this is the leader that I'm hoping to take us to that next level.
Right. And we definitely want something different. And 2024 is the year for truth. It's the
Mm-hmm.
year for the reveal. And the reason why I have these three women on here is because, like I was saying in my story, when my wife told me not to do it and I did it, it's that woman intuition we have to learn how to respect, because y'all kind of can see the future before things happen. And, so now what we're seeing is the rise of that, the understanding of it. And so in the pledge, I have one of the lines is I pledge to protect the queens. And in our communities, we have to get back to protecting the queens that nurture our children so the children can feel love. And when they're out in the community, they can continue to spread that love that they're getting from that mother. And so
I have a question, Sherman. Can I talk a little bit about what Miss Erica Felt said?
Yeah. Yep. Right here.
Sorry, like I'm in the chat too. Like I'm just looking at scrolling. So I think so I think you're right, Erica. So a part of my work just in general has been, I'm a small business owner myself.
Right.
I feel like I'm a social entrepreneur. I dream up businesses and start and stop them all the time. And so my husband and I have Best Burger now, but I used to be a VP at US Bank, and my specific strategy was a new strategy that I helped to launch here in Nebraska around small business support for businesses that are traditionally pushed to the margin. So that's going to be businesses owned by people of color, by women, veterans, so on and so forth. And so I was able to really sit in that around, like, what does capital access look like? We know the banking system and the history it has with bias and intentional exclusion and discrimination. So really trying to address that for the institution, as well as I worked for a private foundation that invested in organizations that supported entrepreneurship. So think about like what IB Black Girl does around our business catalyst. And so we actually have been looking at, especially in North Omaha, childcare and caring for kids is very indigenous to communities of color. Like it's a part of our history. It has been a means for a job, and jobs that also did not come with benefits, right? Retirement and other things that we see our older generations paying the price for now. And so one of the things that we are doing from the organization that I created is we are taking our business catalyst that's specifically written for Black women and femme entrepreneurs, and we are piloting it with Nebraska Early Childhood Collaborative around the child care centers, so that that are located in this geographic footprint, to say like, okay, they're helping you on the technical skill side of like, how do you run a child care center that's safe, meeting all the compliance. But we are then looking at and saying like, well, how do you run an effective business, right? So how do you make sure that you understand how you market, and what are some of the customer service pieces? Do you have the right contract set up? And so we're starting with actual centers, and then we will then move to supporting in-home child care centers. And so I think you're absolutely right. Like, there are a lot of people that have businesses and thoughts that are good at like that service piece, not the business side. And so our goal is to make sure that happens. And that's one of the things that I would champion if elected as the next senator, and that I also do now as a lobbyist. Like, how can we really make sure entrepreneurship and innovation is accessible, that people can start, maintain, and grow their businesses? Because we know that's a way to build generational wealth and also actualize the life that you want to live for yourself now.
Right. Yeah. So,
and I would agree, Erica. And I think that's one of the reasons why we want to partner. There's a woman, Sherman, do you know Tierra Harper?
Tierra Harper? No.
So she was one of the folks that started the Books in the Barbershop.
Okay.
Where they were reading to kids, a Black woman, and she's at NECC now. And I can say, right, like all of these institutions need to reconcile that the harm that they've caused. And with her being someone that is from the community that understands how to best support, that is our partner there. And I think they're really trying to, okay, good. Erica said that she knows Tierra, and I think they're really trying to do something different. And so our hope with being a partner, right, is to help think about that transformation so that folks, right, can show up for community how they need to, whether they're a traditional org like NECC or everyday people that are trying to navigate the system.
Yeah, that's true. And I think that, so like with you running, are there any challenges that you're facing now or have faced with announcing and then starting your campaign, getting it going, or no?
I think it's interesting. I felt like I knew what I was getting into because like I worked alongside politics, right? I've been a lobbyist and it's totally different, Sherman.
Yeah.
It is so different. I think it's another level of microscope that you are under, right? And so this is one of the most diverse districts in the state, which I recognize. So you have like some of the wealthiest neighborhoods and some of the neighborhoods that are navigating really low incomes and really harsh environments. You have a country club in this district. You have one of the major hospital systems. Like you have a lot of racial and ethnic diversity. And so I know that as a district leader, I'm representing the district and like who are all the people here. And I still get a lot of feedback from people, I guess is what I will call it, or emails, right? That says, and I think it's because I'm a Black woman in this space of like, well, you have to represent the full district. And like, I know, like, that's why I'm running for a district level seat.
But you never said you're not representing the full.
Yeah, like I represent the district and Nebraska. Like it's, so I think, and without even a chance to get to know me, right? Like not knowing my approach or my leadership or having a conversation, a lot of people are telling me what I need to do without giving me not giving me the opportunity to like introduce myself and have a conversation. And so that's been difficult for me because I feel like that's what I love to do. Like I love being in community, like how I'm talking to y'all, like let's get to know each other. Let's have a hard conversation. Like, what does that look like? And so I think that has been difficult a little bit. But otherwise, I would say the amount of people that are just excited that I'm running and I just get positive affirmations has really been amazing. I have folks that pray for me and will send me stuff like I'm praying over you and your race and your campaign and, just like really uplifting me. And so I'm really, I'm encouraged by that type of support, right? And like that's what I try to lean into when I feel like I'm hitting a brick wall or if I'm feeling a little discouraged that day. Like I said, I've been knocking doors, so some people don't even want to talk to me when I knock. So like when I'm hitting those brick walls, I lean into the people that have been a support and are really encouraging me in this journey.
Yeah. Are you seeing a lot of community support though from the community you've been serving all these years? They rooting for you, or anybody saying, "Girl, why you do that? Don't do that," and all that. So.
Folks are worried for me because they see our legislature, right, and how toxic it can be, and how folks are not necessarily focused on the well-being of all Nebraskans, through the legislative session. And so folks are like worried, like, I want you to get elected. Are you going to be okay down there? Like, we want to make sure you're safe and well. But like I went to, for example, Preston Love's kickoff event, and I was there and I seen Miss Rhoda, who was my Girls Inc. teacher when I was there. And she was like, Ashley, I am so proud of you. I saw you running, my mother passed away. And so she was like, your mom would be so proud of you, so it's like that. Like I go into a space and like people are wrapping their love around me and saying how proud they are. Like, which again, really means a lot. And it's folks from like, I'm born and raised here. So, it's folks that see me grown up in the church or in my after school activities that are really like rooting for me and on my team, which I'm excited for. So I do need that though to turn into votes. Yeah. So like I need yes, I appreciate the verbal support and like also go to the polls if you're in District 13 and vote for me.
Yeah. And we do have a lot of people out here advocating for voting. Shell is one of them. She always be on me about voting and getting out to vote. And plus I seen Brother Kasim endorse you with the Black Agenda Alliance. So we're not really worried about nobody bothering you because you have the support of your real community that will be there for you, whenever that kind of stuff happened. Do you have anything else that you want to add, or any of the ladies, y'all got any questions for Ashley, or anybody in the chat got some questions for Ashley?
I just want to thank you, Ashley. Your courage is so beautiful to me, and it's so needed, and it's been, a long time, but it's our time.
Absolutely. Thank you. Yeah, and I think, I mean, and again, like folks that I don't even talk to on a regular basis, just rooting for me, like it makes a difference, like having that momentum in community. I will say again, part of my approach to policy is like listening to my community. I'm not an expert in everything and don't pretend to be. It's really about how can I co-create effective policy with people that are on the ground that have the experiences and most impacted. And so I have a couple of listening sessions. I have one this coming Thursday at Emmanuel at 6 p.m. So again, community can come and tell me what they want to see for Nebraska and our district. I have a virtual listening session on the 23rd. So as folks are, can't come in person, there'll be a Zoom. You can sign up for that. And then I also have a family day in the park on the 14th. In Florence Park. So my husband is bringing a food trailer. If y'all never have this
Oh,
burger,
snap.
his burgers are really good. Now he's not gonna have the fries. The fries are my favorite, but he will have burgers and we'll have beef hot dogs, and we'll just be giving stuff away. We'll have stuff activities for the kids, and again, just another space to get to know me, because I think that's important. I don't take my community for granted. I don't take your trust in my leadership for granted, and so I really want to make sure, as much as possible, I create opportunities for folks to connect with me and really get to understand my leadership. And like I also said, challenge me, right? Like I have thoughts and ideas, but they might not align to yours. And should I be thinking about something differently? Like I appreciate and welcome that type of communication and relationship. And so all of that is on my website. And I think, I don't know how to, I'm feeling like a boomer. I don't know how to type this in the chat, but maybe I can send it to you, Sherman, and you can put my website on there. And then Apostle Chambers, I would love to connect. I can put my email in this chat as well. Maybe I just have to hit join the chat. Is that what it is?
Yep. That's exactly
What's the website?
So it's ashleyfornebraska.com. Oh wait, I think it's gonna allow me.
Okay.
I had to connect it through my YouTube, I think. Oh, it's
That's
not
what I had to do.
Yeah, it says that it won't let me, but it's Ashley, ASHLEIFOR, and then Nebraska spelled out.com. And my email is also on there, but it's Ashley, ASHLEI at ashleyfornebraska.com again. So my website and my email, and even, in general, if you have a thought or question, like shoot me an email. My cell phone number is on my website. Like I'm an open book in terms of that. So I would love to
There it
connect.
is.
Look, you deal with this technology. You just moving through the screens and
he's savvy.
AshleyForNebraska.com. So yeah, y'all make sure y'all go check out that website. There's the donate now button. That's important. And then, like she said, getting out to vote, showing up to some of these events, asking her the tough questions, supporting her campaign, getting to know her, talking to her. You clearly see she's an easy person to find if she came to hang out with me. A lot of people run from coming to talk to me, but Ashley was like, yep, I sure will. I contacted her right when I seen she was running. I said, Ashley, you want to come on the show? She said, yeah, sure will. So I appreciate you.
And I appreciate you, Sherman. Like, again, I think sometimes people shy away from hard conversations. And I really learned this from my husband. Like, no one is above examination, right? And so if we say we stand for this and this is our leadership, like we should be able to have dialogue and people should be able to challenge us and again, have that type of discourse. So I really appreciate you and this show and the platform that you have created. So that we can have that for our community. We need that type of accountability. So I'm thankful for y'all to, have me on here and to be able to be in space with y'all, even if it's for a second. You got to have me back so we can have a longer conversation. But
oh yeah, and definitely, like you said, the tough conversations. And one thing I appreciate about you is you don't hide or run from nothing. So if somebody got a question, here she is now. You can ask your question. If you got any concerns or anything about her campaign, like I said, she's always open. And make sure y'all check out my brother at Best Burger, man. Them burgers is slamming. Them fries is good. And like I said, when I first met you, it was at a summit and me and my daughter was there and you were so kind to us. And we really appreciated it. What do you say? Oh, I have to go, but if you're recording this, I would love to listen later. Yeah, Bruce, it will be on my page. And so y'all can go back and definitely watch it and check it out. And as the election goes on, the process, will definitely be having you back on here because we want to follow the progress. We want to be able to get updates from you and know exactly what you're going through, what's going on, and how we can best support what you're doing. So
I would love that.
Yeah, and then the advocacy work right now that we are engaging in, we'll be also needing your help with some of that, with the housing issues and the
Absolutely.
the injustices that our community face and the economic growth that we need in North Omaha.
Absolutely.
Terrell, he tackled it and things didn't go exactly how he planned, but just the fact that him taking it on and tackling that right away, it just shows that he has an understanding of what we need, because since 1969 our community hasn't had a business district that's generating money where we can send our children right down to 24th Street to get their first job in a mom and pop store and things of that nature. So we need those things because that is a part of the community that helps it grow, is the business. And so,
and I don't think it should stop with Senator McKinney, right? Like, he did such a great job of laying the foundation, and it's like we need them people at the legislature to keep carrying economic development and vitality so that our communities can continue to thrive. And it's not just dependent on his leadership, but it's embedded into the policy practices. And so I think you're absolutely right. A piece of my platform is looking at vibrant corridors. And so, like you said, 24th and Lake, 30th and Ames, 30th and State, even like 72nd and Sorensen is in our district. And I'm like, I want to be able to go there and go to places outside of Target. Like, I want to, be able to eat in my community and shop and, have entertainment. And so I think you're absolutely right. We need a better vision for that at our state capitol, and folks that continue to carry on that foundation of this like historic influx that was created. So it can't stop here. We got to keep moving.
Right. And as we're looking at this, your page, I just want to reiterate to people, she do have some future events coming up. April 11th, the in-person listening session. April 14th, the meet and greet. April 23rd, the virtual listening session. And then another meet and greet Sunday, April 21st. So that's how you put your face out there with the people and be transparent and available for any questions, comments, or concerns. So that way you making sure you make the right vote for the person that's going to really represent you and not just start coming in your community and putting yard signs up and attending 360 meetings and showing your face to show and act like you're a part of the community all of a sudden when people like Ashlei, who's not only been there, but she's still here. She ain't going nowhere. So
nowhere soon.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, we love you and we appreciate you for stopping in and talking with us. And we'll have you on soon again. And again, I appreciate you really for coming.
Yeah, I appreciate each of you. Thank you again. I appreciate all the comments in the chat too. So I will make sure I follow up with folks that said that they wanted to connect. And I hope y'all have a good rest of the show. I'm going to tune in after I get my little baby sleep. So
make sure that you get this contact with Mr. Chambers. I think, and I got his number, so I can actually connect y'all if you want me to.
That would be great, Sherman. Thank you.
I got you. That's what we do. We connect.
All
right. You take it easy and get that baby laid down, girl.
All right. I'll talk to y'all later. Thank you, everybody.
Bye. Good luck.
All right. Man.
Awesome.
That was great. Yeah.
She's awesome.
Ashlei. Yeah. And I think it's just important to keep making sure that we, we honor the people that's doing that, taking the steps. It takes a lot of courage to run in spaces where we haven't been before. And talk about things that have affected us and to put yourself out there. And so we're going to check in with Miss Arlena that's right here with us. And we're going to give her a chance to talk about why she's on the show and why she contacted me about the issues that we've been having in North Omaha with getting legal representation, especially when you're facing huge corporations or people that got a lot of money, and then trying to obtain a lawyer that's actually going to be your lawyer and not just take your money. So, I'll let you go ahead and introduce yourself and tell a little bit about yourself. And it's all you, Arlena.
Hello, everybody. It's Arlena Kelly. And I've been doing business in North Omaha for about at least 25 years. And in doing so, it's a lot of things I discovered that's totally backwards, or as you used to say, you got to kiss butt to make it. Because one thing is getting a business. Once you get a business, I mean, it's not simple as you just open a business. It's a lot of butts you got to kiss to keep that business going, and a lot of butts you got to kiss to keep your business on a stable. I want to say a stable, because you do so much to open your business and you put so much money into it. The last thing you want is something to happen and you have to close back down, because a lot of people that open businesses is not open it just to be open it. You know, they open it to take care of their families, their bills, anything they got going on in their life. So the business is a lot to them. And so it's a lot of things to run the business. A lot of people you look at and you be like, well, they probably be good to, work in my business, but you got to be careful the people you hire also, because the same people that you hire for to work in your business to be the same people that destroy your business. It's a lot to it. And it's a lot to people that's around that you do business with. Because if you get hold to the wrong person, or the wrong person steered you wrong, that's bad for you on your end, because they're going about their business after they don't stirred you wrong. You still standing there trying to fix something that they stirred you wrong on. Right. And the thing about a lot of that stuff is, like I said, the things I want to talk about with people, it's a lot of things that we don't talk about. It's a lot of things. I was going to go to the news one time just for my business having the lowest gas prices that day, and there's just a lot of things that I wanted to say on my interview when they came out, but I was told before my interview not to say anything because I can get blackballed.
Wow.
So I'm like to myself, well, if I can get blackballed, then you're doing wrong by me. You're doing wrong anyway, because I should be able to say what's going on and the reason why my gas prices are so cheap and all the other stuff that comes with it. I shouldn't be told what to say right before my interview. Why I get a call before my interview telling me don't say this, don't say that. I mean, that's just like a lot of the stuff that's around here. You know what I'm saying? Everything, somebody's always telling people what not to do. Black people, that is, because you don't really gotta tell the white people, but black people, they try to tell them how to run their business, right, and try to show them how to run it. Okay, I didn't ask for all that. I didn't ask you for no help. I didn't ask you for that. If you're going to come in, help me the right way by showing me what I need to do, but telling me how to run my business is a whole nother story.
Right. And so with that property that you was talking about, that you had the duplexes and, share a little bit about that and how you had the issue with the city coming in, telling you what to do.
Man, that was so horrible. Dealing with the city, I mean, it can be a horrible thing. And it's got good people down there, but at the same token, they got bad people down there. So the bad people are mixed with the good people. The good people are telling you the right thing. And I had a city worker that was basically coming down there to basically stalk me. I don't know if he seen me on the news, and that's why he came for me, because he literally came for me. He was down in my building picking out things. I had 2 duplexes. They were side by side on this one duplex. He picked at it so much and was saying so much. I had put $3,000 into this duplex, messing with him to the point where he had me at the police station and all that. He had 2 cops, the cop playing bad cop, playing good cop. And then the good cop was like, just sign the paperwork. I said, but I don't want to sign the paperwork because I don't feel I should be signing this paperwork due to the fact I didn't do anything wrong. But he wanted me to sign for a ticket. Now, I don't got no record. I don't have a criminal record. Never did. For tickets or for criminals. I don't have no record. But he got me down there at the courthouse with these 2 cops, one playing good cop, one playing bad, trying to get me signed tickets that I shouldn't have been signing. And then I'm doing the work. Why am I doing all this? You know what I'm saying? But so what had happened with the city worker, okay, he got to bother me so much because I didn't want to say anything because he was bothering me so much. I didn't think people would believe me if I did say anything. So I didn't want to say anything, but it was disturbing me deeply because I don't like to be bothered like that when I'm just handling my business and trying to get things done and try to go on to the next thing. I got businesses going on. Then I'm right down here at this particular business to handle this business with this worker. And so what he's done is he had me in the courtroom. I had a public pretender, and she wasn't doing nothing I asked her to do. She wasn't doing nothing. And because I told her what was going on with me and this man, but she just totally ignored it. So when I went to court, the judge was talking to me, and I told the judge, I said, listen, I'm in here for something I shouldn't be in here for. I said, could you ask him, what do I need to do to finish up fixing this building so that I don't have to deal with it no more, so I can be done? Because he won't tell me when I'm done. He won't tell me what more I need to do, because he's checking it. So why are you not telling me if I need to do more, or what more do I need to do? You're just down here because there was a lot going on besides all that I'm not saying nothing about, but it's a lot was going on with him besides that. So so she asked him, and he told her it was smoke detectors, and it was a furnace heater, and the furnace door, and the light switch that goes over the light switch, the cover. And so I knew for a fact when he was telling her that all that stuff was at the apartment. He knew it was at the apartment, but he's telling the judge that I needed those are things for me to end a process with him. And I'm like to myself, that's stupid. Why would you be holding me up for that stuff? So I was happy that I got her to ask him to tell her, because he wouldn't tell me. He would not tell me.
Why do you think he was harassing you so much? What was the point? And then what ended up happening after you finally got him to tell her what to do? Like, what was the issue with your duplex?
Well, after he told her what I needed to do to finish up, I just went to the apartment after court, and I did those 3 things. All I did was the furnace heater, the cover was on there, it was pushed up. The light switch was sitting right there by the light switch. I just hadn't put it on there. And the smoke detectors was in my truck. I had 2 new smoke detectors for that building for that particular apartment that was just not put up yet. So I went and did those things. And then I called him right out to check them. So he came out and checked them. And then after he left, I went straight back down there and got a permit for my next building next door, because I just figured since he was doing so much to me for that building, he would be coming for that building next. So I went next door and got the permit. I went down there and got the permit for the building next door so I can get it all taken care of before he can even come down there and say anything to me. Well, when I went down there to get the permit, the city inspector told me that he couldn't give it to me because that particular city inspector said that if I come for it, I had to get it from him.
It kind of sounded like it was obsession or something. Like he was just wanting to continue to keep his foot on your neck over the buildings. And
I wasn't giving in. I wasn't about to give in.
Give in, yeah. Wow.
Cause that's just not how I work. Everybody that knows me know that that's not how I work. I don't give sex up for anything. To me, my body is my tempo, and I'll be damned if I give it to somebody I don't want to give it to.
Right. And so he was being flirtatious and seeming like if you would have had sex with him, then he would have backed off of the permits and all the stuff he was trying to get you for. But since you wouldn't, then he just kept making it more difficult. And imagine now how many women in business is facing this same type of stuff. And it was against the city worker. But most of the people, like you said at first, you didn't know what to say or what to do or how to approach it. And in the news story, they telling you don't say this, don't say that. I mean, here in this town, it's like everybody from the city to the police to the attorneys to the judges, they're all connected in this big cabal. And
they are.
The moment that you try to put forth some litigation against somebody, then it becomes very difficult for you to get legal representation that's meaningful, actually. And I think that since we all keep running into it, it's important to have the conversation because Nikki said earlier today when I was talking to her that it might be time for us to look for an outside entity to get a license here in Omaha to start taking on some of these cases, because what we have right now is a bunch of people that done got so comfortable in treating us this way that we are basically doing our own legal stuff and we don't have no representation. And so I'm glad that you was able to share your story and let us know about the stuff you face, because it takes a lot for that to happen, for you to come forward with it. And Andrea said, yeah, because with women and the way people doing, you, like you said, he wanted sex. You seemed like it was just obsessive. That kind of stuff happens so much, and nobody want to talk about it. They're afraid because of the retaliation. And so even like with Nikki, I've been knowing Nikki for a long time. She's a fellow Pisces, and she called me in 2020 because she was the top saleswoman at her job, and she worked at Auto Mart 150 over there in Council Bluffs. Top saleswoman, I mean, killing the game. And Andrea said, "Hey, Nikki," she was killing it. And during the 2020 George Floyd thing, and it spilled over to our city over James Scurlock, her and her boss had she walked into a conversation where they were talking about James, saying, hey, if it would have happened to my business, I would have shot him too, blah, blah, blah. Well, not knowing that Nikki has a personal relationship with James, she knew this young man. And so she just asked him to stop talking about it because it wasn't proper work conversation, right? And with her being vocal and saying that, and then her customers coming in, she asked him, could he just leave the conversation alone and let's just get to work, And so in turn, this guy turns around. Matter of fact, let me just show y'all this video real quick, and then I'll be right back, okay? All right, just a second here. All right, let's make this a full screen. All right, let's see.
An employee of a Council Bluffs dealership claims that her boss put something disturbing on her desk, a twist tie that was twisted to look like a noose. The woman says that the incident was so shocking that she no longer works at the dealership. She wants her story told. Our John Chapman has more.
Nikki says her trouble started last month when she was on her job working with a customer when a manager put something on her desk.
My customer was like, what is that? She was like, what is that? Kind of angry. And I looked, and I picked it up, and it was a black twisty tie tied up as a noose.
That customer was Christina Wilson.
One of her boss came out and had something in his hand, and he said, Nikki, I got something for you. And he put it on her desk. And before he walked away, he said, I don't know what that is or what it means. So we just looked at each other like, that ain't right.
What did you think it was?
It looked like a noose, the way he had twisted it up.
Christina says Nikki showed the twist tie to another employee.
And when she showed him, he was like, this ain't funny. He was really upset.
Nikki says her boss came back and wrote something on her calendar.
And then about 30 minutes later, he came back and wrote on my calendar, I like you.
Nikki Griffy says she was so upset, she filed a complaint with Council Bluffs Police. The complaint simply says the victim reports harassment at work. We're not naming the dealership or the employee because police say the investigation.
Because we have conflicting stories on both parts that we cannot prove 100% what exactly occurred. It's inactive with the possibility of being reopened if future evidence arises.
The dealership responded with a statement. It reads, we pride ourselves in our inclusive professional culture. When we were alerted of the situation with this valued employee, we took it very seriously. We welcomed the investigation from law enforcement and cooperated fully. It is our understanding the authorities have completed their investigation, but if any further information comes to light, we will be ready to fully cooperate.
So it's like the police denied me, the business denied me, and I'm just stuck out here alone.
On your side in Omaha, I'm John Chapman, 6 News.
Right.
You know what's crazy about that is they saying, I know, Nikki, take a deep breath. They saying that there was conflicting stories, but what happened was the brother that was working there, Q, which I think he still works there.
Yeah.
He turned around after you see the lady said that he was mad and like, oh, this ain't funny. But when the police came, he said, oh, she made it a big deal. It wasn't no big deal. And so then the police decided that they wasn't going to press the issue because now it's Nikki and the lady sitting there versus this black man who changed his story when the police came. And what I found out was he got a promotion after Nikki left. He got moved to a new desk. He got to hire one of his
my desk. He got moved to my desk.
And so they didn't want to name him, but we're going to name him. It was Edwards Auto Group, a part of Automart 150. Edwards Auto Group owns Automart 150. And look, Andrea says she pissed all over again.
I know, me too.
Because, you know, we went through a lot with that situation. And I know that once I was not able to get her legal representation, I mean, we tried the Iowa Ombudsman. We called the NAACP in Iowa, the Omaha NAACP. We contacted lawyers in Omaha. We was out there with signs. I mean, we literally was all over these people. And the guy, Aaron Kephart, who actually did it, years later, ended up overdosing on meth, which is something Nikki was saying in her complaint that he was doing on the job and having other women go out and get it for him, you know, as his boss, as their boss. And so, you know, I know I get criticized for the way I do a lot of things, but I was so mad about nobody wanting to do nothing with Nikki. I waited on a Saturday and they was having like these events at Edwards Auto, and my daughter had bought me a megaphone, and so I went around during their events, and I pretty much just spoke about Nikki's case, and here's the clip from that.
Hey, I got time today. How you doing, racist? We got time. It ain't going away. It's not going away at all. Hey, brother, and racist people. It's never going away. Until you admit what you did, until you fire Aaron Kephart, since he want to ride past here smiling and waving at us, thinking it's funny, it's not going away. It's only going to get worse. This is what harassment is like. Since you want to do it to Nikki, we're going to do it to you. Do whatever, call whatever, take a picture, email me if you want to. Because guess what? It ain't going away. It's not. You want to be racist? Go ahead and record. Because we got more women coming forward talking about all the things that Aaron Kephart did, like buying meth, sexual harassment, all that stuff. Yeah, we got it. Chris King and your welfare comments, we got all that. So keep on playing, and we're going to stay here. All Edwards dealerships. Thanks. Have a nice day. We're not going away. All day, every day. 7 days a week. Tell your mama.
Tell your mama.
Tell your mama.
Tell your
mama. So we actually, I mean, it was a very emotional situation because we was hoping that somebody would see the truth in it and that somebody would actually step in and do something. And what we found out early on was that nobody was interested in assisting Nikki with this case. Give me 1 second here. Stop sharing. Nobody was interested in assisting Nikki. They had no interest at all in helping her with this thing. And so, Nikki, I want to know, like, from you as the person who went through it, and you were the top saleswoman, right?
Yes.
And so they had a chart where they were keeping track of who was having the most sales. Like, how did you feel in that male-dominated space, rising to the top and being this top saleswoman?
Well, it's interesting how I even start working there. To begin with, a friend took me there. I needed a car, and I'm, getting this car, and I'm talking to the sales. I'm negotiating. I'm negotiating this car that they had set crazy, and the owner, was there at this time that I was getting the car, and he was like, "Can I hire you?" It's because he never heard a person actually outsell the salesperson that's trying to sell a vehicle to him. And I'm like, never sold a car ever. I never sold cars ever in my life. So really, it was kind of like I left the job that I was at and kind of took that chance. I was like, okay, why not? Let me go for it. And I started learning. What really interests me was the amount of money I can possibly get. And they were always talking about, a record. And this record was 20 cars or something.
Mm-hmm.
And you sell 20 cars in a month, that was like 15,000.
Right.
So I'm like, I think I can do that, but better. I'm going to surpass that. And so I wasn't a lazy worker. I wasn't a lazy saleswoman. I said, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it right, because I got a goal. And that's to beat a record and try to set it to where, nobody else can touch it.
Right.
And I did that. I sold 24 cars in 1 month and made $20,000.
Girl.
There you go.
And that came with a lot of hate. A lot of hate, thank you guys. The other people that came in, first and foremost, I wasn't selfish either, because I couldn't handle all the customers. I made my own business cards. I had appointments lined up all day. I came in on my days off. I really didn't have no days off. There was a lot of customers that I just want to talk to Nikki, but if I couldn't handle it, I would share it, and they call it a split. So a lot of other workers, most definitely Q's. He ate from me. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know, Sherman. Give me another question. I'm just kind of like,
because once you contacted me about it, and then immediately you went right. John, that's my brother. Shouts out to John Chapman. He jumped right in and did the story. He came down to the Pride Center. And once we got out there and really started digging into it, and you stood up, for one, that was very courageous of you. And for other women to see you do that, you also participated in, I did a picture with about 25 women in power to show the unity, and y'all all came together. I made y'all all some shirts, and a lot of people was like, oh, you bring that many Black women together that don't know each other, it's going to be problems, blah, blah, blah. But no, it was the opposite. Y'all all hugged each other. It was a lot of love. It was a lot of support. And so I think, in that situation, what we found out, that legal representation, just like Arlena said, the legal representation for Black women or people, period, Black people, period, it was just non-existent. And I caught a lot of slack as a man, like, oh, you trying to be a captain, and what did she do? And, people was criticizing me for jumping in to help you. And like, we literally went through a lot. But then COVID happened. My mom got sick with pancreatic cancer. And, it was just a lot of things. We did get responses from the Equal Opportunity Employment, who basically said that, I guess since Quinn changed his story, we didn't have enough proof or evidence that it actually happened. And then all these years later, Aaron Kephart had to get rushed to the ER from Automart 150 for overdosing on meth at the job. Yeah. And so then it goes back to say that you were right the whole time. Like,
yes,
I was a piece of crap. He was mistreating you, saying welfare comments.
Oh, man, it was just, it was a lot. Like, it felt like, honestly, he was really retaliating because I shut down the conversation and let him know that is not
right.
Not right. And there's more to it than what y'all may see, you know what I'm saying? In which it was. And I mean, which I was right on that. And
He was right
you know,
on it.
yes,
Because we came to find out that that guy was actually waiting or trying to set up somebody to break into his building
exactly.
to shoot black people. And just so happened James and his friends were walking by and they became the victim of his already rage that he wanted to project on somebody black anyway.
Exactly.
So the
And you
point
can
of this,
tell they're friends clearly because of the way his actions.
yeah. And the point of the live today is really to, hopefully it's going to empower other women, other people of color, that even when you go through adversities, speak on it. There's somebody else that has went through it, and we can empower each other to help each other get through it, right? And look, she said it came back and bit him in the ass, nothing but straight karma. That's
Yes.
right. God revealed it all. You right, Cynthia.
Yes.
Woo! He revealed it all.
Yes, he did. But I do have to say, us as Black people and women and men, we have to start uplifting each other.
Man.
You know, Sherman didn't tell me a lot of the backlash, you know, that he was going through. And I said sorry today, you know, because I felt it too. You know, I was going through it, and, you know, people were like, oh, she seems, you know, so educated, and, you know, she can get a job anywhere. Now we're in COVID, y'all. So, I mean, a lot of places are shut down for one. So, I can just hop and go get another job. Or it was, oh, she's just doing this for the money. I just made $20,000. What are you talking about? It's all principle, you know, like I couldn't do it. I'm to be completely transparent. When that happened to me, I was in my car. I called my siblings, and I was in kind of like a panic attack. I was scared, you know. I felt like, for one, I'm a Black woman in Iowa. And I just got threatened.
Right.
And I never felt like that. I never experienced anything like that. Like, you know, we experience racism all the time, but that was directly in my face at my job. And it's a close, you know, a small building. And this is a person I got to see every day.
Right.
And even coming to the management about what happened, this is what he said. He was like, so you just made $20,000. You don't think you can do that again? I said, I know I could do way more than that. But what happened to me is unacceptable. What are you going to do about that?
Yeah.
And that's his best friend. So he wasn't going to do anything.
Right.
And it's Edwards Auto Group, and they own all or most of the auto companies in Iowa. So it's a large entity. And like Arlena said, when like with her city worker, trying to find legal representation for somebody that's going to take on the city or that's going to take on Edwards Auto Group, or even with Renita when she got elbowed by the fire chief, we could not find legal representation, or the fire president union president. We could not find legal representation for none of these people because of who they were going up against. And what we ran into with Nikki was this conflict of interest story. You know, it was always a conflict of interest of whether they could take her case or not. And, you know, with Arlena going through the same thing now, she has a legal case that we can't discuss because it's still going on. But still, she ran into an issue of not being able to get legal representation. And then when she did get the representation, it was a ghost on, ghost off. But at the same time, now being able to come forward, talk about it, empower other people, and then show that you got the strength to make your face known and your story known. Hopefully somebody else is gaining courage to do the same thing, because what, like she said right here, Miss Wright, she said, sounds right. As a Black woman, we really get hustled just being ourselves.
Yes. And it's so bad, y'all. It's, you know, I mean, it was always kind of like, you know, what she did.
But what did she do?
My job. I did my job and did it well, you know. And even dealing with equal opportunity, you know, the what is called
EOC or something.
EOC,
The NAACP, all them people.
yes, they were like, well, what I was really trying to let them know, this is a competitive job. This is not a job where everybody get paid the same hourly. If you don't sell a car, you don't get no money.
Right.
Yep.
So why wouldn't they want me out? You know, why wouldn't they? The other, you know, the Q, let's just go ahead and put it out there. He lied. I don't, you know, and it's just like in my name being slandered and just, you know, y'all, we went through a lot. You know, Andrea, you my girl, you and your husband, y'all looked out. You know, it was only a few of us, but I mean, you know, I really do appreciate that support. I, you know, you guys did a lot, you know, for me, and you know, it was frustrating. It was very frustrating because we just could not find anyone. And to this day, I still feel wronged, you know, because when you do things, and what I was trying to explain is that I don't know not one person, right, that goes into a job or a career and they, you know, you make your budget, right? Since I'm a commission worker, I set a goal every month. You know, I knew if I did this or sold this many, that this much money was going to be coming extra into my household. I'm doing my career, my job, the way that I would think any human would think of doing, you know, to be able to support my family, you know, and it just I don't know, y'all. It just don't make any sense. I honestly, I can't make no sense of the madness, and I just know that I went through it. There was witnesses, and I don't know how they even got away with it. Right. I want to, you know, I was like, man, COVID, you know what I mean? It just, the people that was wherever the people is, equal opportunity people, they didn't want to do their job. You know, it was like a lot of things, you know, people here in Omaha, they wanted to push me over to council, you know, Iowa people, you know, and
Yep.
It wasn't, it didn't make sense. I would have thought that I would have had better support from my community. I'm born and raised here. I'm an Omaha girl. You know, I mean, I'm not perfect by any means, but you know, I always try to be straight and always be real to people and respect what respect is due.
Right.
And you know, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, speaking of it don't make sense and madness, we had a situation this Friday that just happened regarding Mr. Blake.
Yeah, gosh, yes.
And that whole case is not making sense to none of us. And if y'all don't know, Mr. Blake has been missing since August 17th. They say he walked away from JC Wade Villa. And Friday night, we had a woman go live on Facebook, like 200 and something views. And this lady said that she found Mr. Blake's remains at Adams Park and he was face down. And so I want to address that because, you know, we it don't matter what time of the night. For one, if somebody call me and tell me that they found Mr. Blake or they have information, I'm gonna get up out of my bed or whatever I'm doing, dropping it all to go and face this challenge. And you know, with Mr. Blake's case, of course, we've had the police who didn't want to look for him. They waited 10 days to even tell the community he was missing. And they also didn't use the silver alert, which would have alerted everybody right away and also activated the resources to create a perimeter, a 2-3 mile, 10-mile perimeter to initially just go look for him right away. They did none of that, okay? And so Friday night, this lady went on live and told everybody that she found his body at Adams Park and got us up, the community, the people invested, his family, and we get all the way there, call the police. And she said she was on the phone with 911. They transferred her to another call and they had her on hold. Well, I called 911 from home as I'm jumping up, and they said, we never even got a call from nobody saying they found Mr. Blake. And so then I had them meet me there. And when I got there, one of the officers was a guy who went to school with my son. So he was very familiar with me. And so he's like, yeah, we'll wait for her, have her come to the scene. And we are going to help her go back to the spot where she said she found him, and we're going to look. So once we got there, of course, I wasn't thinking of going live because I'm not about to go live and show y'all no remains or nothing like that. But the reason I went live after the fact, because we walked out there, went down the sidewalk, got to the area where she claimed she seen him, and then she's like, well, it's dark. I don't remember no more. And then I went live because I wanted the community to know that we are going to address this anytime it happens, and no matter what. This woman has told us 2 or 3 other times that she knew where he was, but then come to find out, she said it was a psychic that told her where he was at, right? So this time on her live, though, she stated she found his remains and he was face down in the dirt. So I'm thinking, okay, maybe she did. I've been telling her she's crazy and all this and that. I jump up. We get down there, and again, it's not true. She just found some clothes in the dirt, and that was way earlier in the day. And when the police was there, we all had our flashlights, everybody long sleeve. We ready to go through these woods. And then she like, I don't know where it's at. So, of course, we were all upset. I know that this lady needs some mental help.
Yes.
So I wasn't yelling at her. I wasn't, even though I thought Mr. Blake's family was about to snap on this woman, because Shonda have already told her before when she did it the other times to stop doing that. You don't have no proof of where he is. Don't tell us about some psychic. If you know where my father is, she said, to let us know, or we appreciate you helping search, but let us know. Don't just keep saying it. And she was just initially telling us, but Friday night she jumped on live and was telling everybody. So we all get flooded with calls, and it ended up not being true. And yeah, she do need some mental help. And it was really the family jumped out there. The police was out there. We had Tamika showed up, Frank, all the family, different people, and we was all out there ready to go and look and see for sure if this was him, and it was just not true. And that kind of stuff is hurtful to the family. People were crying, people were upset. Our emotions was all over the place. I'm thinking this is finally the closure we've been looking for.
Right.
It wasn't true. And so, we do have a $15,000 reward for any information leading to the whereabouts of Mr. Blake. Andrea said, who is she to him? She's nobody to him. She actually dated Levi's son years and years and years ago. So I don't know if this is for her to try to get his attention again or whatever. But we asked her nicely to stop doing that. So, and she just keep doing it. So when we went on her page, she made a live in March 7th saying the same thing and March 25th saying the same thing. So for her to go live Friday night saying the same thing without us knowing that she had made these lives with this psychic stuff, we had no idea that she was just not right mentally. And I don't want to bash her, and I don't want to bash nobody who need mental help. I mean, I think they really need to get that help. But you cannot keep dragging this family through a false hope that you know where Mr. Blake is. There was a woman on Omaha Scanners that kept saying, "Oh, I know, I seen him. I get over there, and it's some random dude that just walks up and down her street, and it wasn't him." She was so sure, and kept telling everybody that Omaha Scanner blocked her because she kept saying she knows that it's him, you know. So this is the kind of stuff that we've been dealing with while we're looking for Mr. Blake. And of course, I want the community help. Don't get me wrong. And I think I was not yelling at that woman in the video, but I just want y'all to be sure that if you ever come across anything or a person or any remains or whatever you think, please call 911 first. Yes. Don't go live. Don't do nothing else. Call 911. Okay. Yes, we will have a billboard going up for Mr. Blake April 22nd. Thanks to the donation from the Simple Foundation for funding the billboard that's going up for him. Letting the community know that, yes, he is still missing. Like Andrea said, don't call the coroner. This lady kept
saying, I seen it too, Sherm. I'm just like, what?
Don't call the coroner. Call the police. The police will call the coroner once they identify that it's a body. Okay. Right. And so that kind of stuff, we can't have that happening. And so I definitely wanted to make sure I addressed that. And then the video is on my live. But as a community, we do need to support each other. We need to uplift each other. Arlena and Nikki both for their courage for coming on today to tell their story. And Arlena, like you said, you know, and the women going through things where men or people are wanting sexual favors on your property and your business. And Nikki, you disagreeing with this man just because, you know, it was a racial thing. You weigh in Iowa, he didn't agree with what you said and the way that James got murdered by this racist, you know, and you didn't agree with that, then he felt like putting that noose on your desk was a threat for you to, you know, Black people got hung a lot. So it's like, keep talking about this and you gonna get hung, you know. So we have to make sure that, for one, we standing up against this kind of stuff. And we are supporting each other. So I want to make sure that y'all continue to support Levi's family, support Arlena and Nikki in their legal woes, and make sure that if you've got the opportunity, share Mr. Blake's flyer. We will be putting together more search parties this summer to look for him. And like I said, we got one billboard going up, and we are looking to get one more. The billboards cost us $575, and they'll be up for 4-week increments. Lamar Billboards did say that if they put one billboard up and nobody buys the billboard after us, that they'll just leave it up the whole time. So that's a good thing. So we appreciate you for doing that. Thanks to Jessica for being the advocate, going out and getting these great deals for us from Lamar Billboards. And so with that, I want to say thank y'all to both for coming on to the show today, this Sunday sermon with Sherman. And we are going to continue to have people on and be a voice for the community, for the stories that don't get shared, for the people who news won't cover your story. Contact me. We'll put something together and get your voice heard and get you out here to where you may be able to find some legal representation, or you may be able to find an advocate in the community that can point you in the right direction to represent yourself. And like Miss Arlena said, she told me before that she was being ghosted by her lawyer, and when she told him she was going to talk to me, she got that call right away. So
that's right.
We've built a reputation in this community that accountability, like Ashley said, is very important. And we as a community is going to continue to hold people accountable for the way you handle our people in North Omaha. Okay.
Yes. And let me also add before you go, Sherm, I want the women to know, you know, you guys, you know, even though you, Arlene, you're not alone, you know. I'm with sisterhood, and let's just love each other and try to uplift each other. You know, you're not alone. You're not. And we're going to get through this.
Yeah.
It's a hard situation to get through, but we probably will.
I'm sorry. Hold on one second. Arlene.
Huh? Sherman?
What I do? Remove myself? I said, do you have anything you want to add before we go?
Yeah, I like to say that, even though I had that city problem and they basically busted him, because he admitted some stuff that I hadn't told them. He admitted to them. So, I mean, it ain't like they didn't know he was doing it. They knew he was doing what he was doing. And like I said, I can get my permit from anybody down there. I don't have to get it just from one specific person. So what he was doing to me, they knew was wrong. That's why they transferred him to the weight and measurements department.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm glad that you were able to get that taken care of. Andrew said, I think he's going. Yeah, I accidentally removed myself from the show. My niece talking about she want me to run for mayor. I don't know about that. I don't know if they want me to be no mayor, but I've thought about it. Not just running for mayor, but some political position. But with me, I'm 100% not gonna play no game. So I know how politicians say one thing and do another. I'm gonna stick to what I say I'm gonna do. And when it come to my community, I will go to war for y'all because that's how much I love y'all and we all connected.
Me too.
It would make great changes. Yeah.
I see your TikTok.
Right. Yeah. Go back.
I was like, yeah.
And Ms. Rice says she's looking for an attorney right now also. So, when we get off this phone, you got my number. I'm going to call you. I do have one attorney, but he's extremely busy. And we will try to see what we can do to help you out. And yeah, Pisces to the end. You already know. So, yeah, we love y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in today. And I'll most likely be back next Sunday with an update on Mr. Blake. And when we put up that billboard, I'll go live from the location of the billboard. This week, we got a lot of stuff going on. There's a 3-day summit I'm attending. I'm also going down to Lincoln with Miss Tamika and Brother Robert Penn to talk to some of the prisoners there in Lincoln. So that's going to be good. And yeah, man, we just got to keep plugging away. And we still on OHA neck. They recently just did something where they're trying to stop the tenants from having their legal rights. And there was a video I posted on my page about a guy dealing with some bugs. After that, they did try to send him an eviction notice, which was retaliation for telling about the bugs. But right away, we got that issue solved. And so don't think just because I haven't been talking about OHA that we still not on their case. It's just that right now we have a lot of silent moves that's going to be big moves that we got to continue to do. And that it just requires a lot of strategy, a lot of planning, and keeping it to ourselves until it becomes a real motion. So we don't want to show our hand before we can play the card. So peace and hair grease. They said thank you for sharing your stories, ladies.
You're welcome. Thank you guys for tuning in.
And Laree said she been searching, and she said, me too, I need one. Been searching. Yes, ma'am, we got you. So thank y'all for tuning in. Thanks to all the people who were speaking in the chat, and we'll be in touch with y'all soon.
All right.
Good night.
Good night.